modules per month.
Yep. That is correct. Okay, so any question from the folks here? I'm not sure you guys, everybody's here or not.
Yeah, so Herschel, are we writing like for module 6.2? Are we writing every test cases?
So what the first task is to come up with the test scenarios. Okay, that's what we are going to talk next. What you're gonna do today, and what between what time frame and what time frame. Okay, so today we are talking only today. Thursday and next week you will be doing additional things. So today the focus is creating the test scenarios. So what does it mean is you have to break down those modules and write the high level test cases, high level, not detail. Okay, we don't want to see detail, but what are the things that you are going to test on each of this module? That's all we are looking at currently. So it's kind of like a scenario tree type of thing. Just list out. You don't have to draw a picture or anything. Just list out what is that you're gonna test on each of these modules as a high level. No detail steps. We don't want to see detail steps today. That is something later on. When you write the detailed test cases, that's what you will do it on this week, Thursdays. We'll review that, and next week as well, next Saturday. Is everybody clear? What is that you expected of them to do today? So we'll give you time between 9 and 10:30 to come up with the test scenarios for each of these modules. So all three modules, as I said, you can divide and conquer and then review internally. So I would suggest you take a time between 9 and 10. Which first of all, you have to take 5-10 minutes to see who is doing what. And generally, one person would be kind of like a lead in the team, and who has the most knowledge of the module, they can divide up the work among themselves. That's how it works in the real life as well. You have one QA lead and who divides up the work. So I would suggest from each team, you have one person basically dividing up the work, and then you guys spend like 10 minutes who is doing what. So between 9 and 9:10, that's what you want to do. Who is doing which, who is picking up which module, and at 10 o'clock you guys want to come back together and start reviewing among all those module artifacts that you have produced as each individual team member or as a team. So you will spend time for 30 minutes for reviewing those items, and then starting 10:30 to 11:30, we will review what you have produced as part of this module, and you will make the correction afterwards. Anything else? Any question on the approach that I just described on that?
So
Yes, Kipti.
So the module is kind of our requirement, right?
Yes, those are that's your scope. That's what you guys will focus on. Yep. So as I said, so you are team number 1. So you guys can decide which module you want to work through, or you can work. Basically, we expect you to work as a team first of all, but you can divide among yourself which module you are picking up. Okay. As well. Maybe you work on 6.7, 6.10, 6.2, and 3. Doesn't matter. It's up to you guys how you want to divide up. But I would suggest one person can be a lead in the team. So here on the team 1, I'm gonna make Dimple as a lead. So you guys work with her, and I'll make Paurangi as a lead on team 2. So other team, you guys work basically as a team, but she will coordinate the work. What from the work standpoint, and then start working on the artifacts right after that, or you can collectively decide. Okay, but I'm just throwing out my idea here. It's up to you guys how you want to manage the work. Any question on this?
Can you scroll down again, please?
Sure. Um, okay. Anybody else has any question? Everybody understands what is expected? Yep. So I'm gonna put this in the chat window, okay? What we are saying here, so that it will be there for you, and you will understand. Okay. So I'm gonna ready to type that in the email, and I'll send you guys. Okay. So if nobody has any question, let's get started. And what we'll do is we'll put 4 people in um, one room, another 4 people in a different room, so you guys can discuss among yourself and start coming up with the artifacts as well. Okay. All right. So while I'm doing that, go ahead and if you want to take a snapshot, take a picture of this screen, you can go ahead and take a picture as well, because I'm trying to figure out how can I send this artifacts to you guys. Let me actually send it here. Actually, I have way here. Okay, I'm just gonna put it in the chat window. Okay, these items. Or I'm just gonna send it in the email.
Yeah, Arshil, you might have to send in an email. I don't know whether it allows to paste picture on the chat.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't look like it does. So I'm just sending you guys in the email. So that's the first one. Then now we do want to stick to the timing. Okay, so I would suggest you, as soon as you are in the room, you guys start working through that. Okay, so that's the second one. And all right, let me see, sent. Okay, so those 2 things are in the email as well. Okay. All right, so Dilip, now let me create the rooms, and I'll put these guys in the room here.
Okay.
Open all rooms. Oh, assign. And what's the 4th one? Lila. Okay. In room number 2. And Dilip, I'll assign you one room as well, just in case. And I'm gonna stay with the other folks in room number 1, just in case if there are any question.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Okay, so everybody should be back in the main room. So let's get, hopefully you guys all had a chance to review each other's work. But let's get started with our review process here. And this time around, I'll ask team number 2 to go first, okay? To see what they have produced and for the review items.
Yeah, so I can share my screen.
Okay, go ahead, Powering.
Okay, so for 6.5,
6.5 is what's the module? 6.5 is that inventory?
It's receiving.
Receiving.
Receiving. Okay,
Receiving.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So for 6.5, the first requirement we have done for customer vendor lookup field.
Okay, can you pull up the screen as well? So do you have access to the laser saver requirement screen? Can
Yeah.
you pull that up as well, side by side, or have that up as well?
Yeah. So 6.5, page number 16. So Herschel, should I scroll and keep the,
Just keep the screen up.
okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. And then you can just minimize, like it's half size the other
Okay.
screen to fit in there.
Okay.
There you go.
Sorry, I got disconnected. Looks like. Yep. I think everybody should. We didn't lose anybody.
That's
looks
good enough for Rangi.
Okay.
So I've been listening to some of your discussions, Farangi, right? So first of all, it's a very good discussions, thoughtful discussions as you go through it. Let's talk about the 6.5, the first one that you did, and help me explain the two paths that you've done. Is one is a lookup field open, the other one is not opening. Well, isn't the absence of one, which is if you have failed to open a lookup field, indicates that the lookup field is not opening and you don't need a separate one?
Yeah, that's where we were confused in some requirements too. Like if we write the first one, should we write the second one? I mean, not opening.
So think about it, right? In terms of the uniqueness of situation, right? If it fails, if you're following a lookup field open and you click it, and if it fails, your first step itself will fail, right? For the other three paths. So you may not need it. Like it's, how are you going to think of it? How are you going to actually create the scenario? If the system is working perfectly, you will never get the right-hand scenario created.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's continue with the discussion on the other branches on the first one.
So Dilip, just to clarify that if we write the test case scenario and we are testing it, and if we test for lookup field not opening, so it will, like it's opening, right? So it's failing our test. So that's how we cannot pass the test, right? That's what I understood.
But that test will never pass if they've implemented the right functionality, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
So then what value are adding it if it's never going to pass?
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk about it like it's when it opens up, you have two paths.
Yes.
So talk through it.
Yeah, so when we click on the 3 button, it's open up and we have some list like customer and vendor. So when we click on it, the name is populated, that same name. Like for example, vendor 1, when we click on it, the same name will be populated in this text field. But so that's this field. That's a positive case. And when we select the vendor 1, but and we have written something in this text field, but it's not coming up. or if we haven't written this thing, but it's not coming up. When we select some name and it's not coming up, that's a negative one.
Okay.
And when we click on that and no data is showing up, like no vendor or no customer is showing up, that's the negative one. That's the third one.
Okay. So what are the scenario when that will happen? And it could still be true, right? If there is no vendor or customer in the system,
Yes.
and you put that, can still happen. But at that point, that's not failed scenario, right?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that can happen. But how we can say that, like, if there are some vendors and customers, but still we cannot see in this when we click on the lookup field. So for that we have written it, but yeah, that can be true, like if there is nothing in the system. So
Yeah,
how should we write that?
So one of the things I want you to think about it is, and it is a consistent theme through your conversation that I was hearing it, is if a certain condition can be proved easily by failure of a step into the one other case, then you may not need it. It may be just a redundant case. Right.
Okay.
So think of this scenario. I am like, it's kind of writing a test case to see if the name gets populated properly or not, right? Which is one of your lowest branch.
Yes.
If I click on it, the first step will be like, it's click on 3 dots. Does the lookup field gets populated on the right hand side? If the answer is failed, then it already covered that situation for lookup field not opening, right?
So we don't need this not populated one, right? That's what.
No, you'd need still that.
Okay.
But again, it may be completely redundant. Same way, cannot find any other vendor could be a redundant one.
Okay.
Right? Because if you do a triple click, and if there is this data is already populated, then you're going into the left branch. If the data is not populated, then you already validated the right branch, or you're going to fail the test.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Now I got that.
So, in fact, right? So think of it. It's like if you break it down, you have just simple 2 scenarios in this case for 6.5. I click on triple dot. Does the vendor field on the right hand side gets populated or not?
Yes.
That's one scenario, right? The second scenario, if I select somebody on the right hand side from the list, does it get populated into the vendor customer field or not? You see it? When you do those 2, failure of any one of those will cover all the other situation that you put in.
Yes. Yeah. So failure of, I mean, this and this things are same, right? Not
Right.
populated and not populated. So we don't need this one, and the failure of this will verify this thing.
Yep.
Okay. So any other scenario which we missed in this requirement?
Again, there is a whole bunch of other, right? So that one was, in my mind, it was just one of the things that you're doing it, right? You still need to test it, all the other button, like it's kind of, and I see it, you are like, it's kind of breaking it down each individual, which is okay, right? The processing another button click. So let's talk through it.
Okay. So Dilip, while we were doing these requirements, all of us were having a question that do we have to do the events and the business rule, or just the business rules?
No. So think of this way, right? When you click on process another, if there are any business rule associated with it, that will get executed. And so is the event associated with that clicking the button.
Yeah.
So you always have to think about everything that happens in the system when you take that particular action. That needs to be considered for validation and testing.
Okay.
Including the required and non-required fields as well, because those are listed out separately. but that it will trigger. So if you don't enter certain piece of information, do you think the process another will work? It probably will not work because that is those fields are required. It will show you error right there. First of all, enter all required information and then trigger the business rules as well as events.
Mhm. Okay, so see, for example, if we have 4 business rules and associated with that 4 rules, we have 4 events, but we have some extra events. So we have to do the extra one too, right?
I'm not sure what you are referring to when you say extra.
I mean, in the event section, some of the events. Okay, when we get there, I can
Yep.
ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about process another, what you have for process another, how you plan to test that.
Okay. So in process another button, when we click on it, so all the information, we are assuming that we have written all the information and it is saved in the system. And we can get a clear screen to write another shipping, another receiving. So that's a positive one. And then we have not clearing the screen. Like when we click on the process another button, it's saving the system, but it's not clearing the screen to write another one. So this is the negative one.
Wouldn't it be same like if it doesn't clear, right? That would fail your scenario, the positive one, and that could become your negative one.
Yes.
So you don't need to have a separate negative one for this one, just like other things that Dilip mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then we have like system is not saving the information and it's still clearing the screen. Like the information is not saved, but it's still clearing the screen, and it's not clearing the screen, but the information is not saved in the system. Like the button is not working when you click on the process another button, all the information is not saving in the system. But
so wouldn't that expected behavior for the positive scenario? I mean, that is your expected, right? For positive scenario, what you have is save the information first, and second part is clear the screen, right? So both things you are verifying in the positive scenario. Now, if one of them is not happening, that means your scenario will fail at that point. The test case will fail at that point. So do you really need these separate ones? I mean, again, it goes back to the conversation. You need to think it through a little bit, whether how many negative, do you really need negative one, I guess, from this one? Because from my standpoint, I think first scenario failure of that will handle the negative one.
Okay.
Yeah, and I want you to think it from another viewpoint, right? When you click process another, right? The way you have kind of done it is you kind of broke it down, the functionality A, which is save the information into the system, and functionality B, which is clear out the screen.
Yes.
Think about it like you're taking one action and both the things are happening as a result of that action, not as a separate activity. Okay. So whenever such situation happens, you want to think about it those as a steps within the test case instead of 2 separate test cases. Because any one of those failure, it's going to indicate your process other button click is not working as expected.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're telling that like we have to just mention that it does not save the info into the system, that will do the job, right? Like instead of writing.
The way I see it is it's only one test case, right? When you click the process button, which essentially first step of that is, hey, I'm going to save the information in the system. Does it pass or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Second step is, does it clear the screen as expected or not?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes or no, right?
Yeah.
And as long as they both pass, your functionality passes. If any one of those fails, it will cover all the other scenarios that you already talked about here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are 2 verification points, right? From the final step. That's what it is. If both are not happening at the same time, your scenario will fail.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Alright.
any other leaf we are missing in this process run the button? Like it's just one leaf, right? This one?
I think you just have one leaf. That's all you will have based on what we discussed here.
Okay.
And that's a
So,
positive scenario, and you will verify everything. Is working.
So here we are assuming that the information is written and we are saving it in the system, right? So
Yep.
can it be another leaf like nothing is written, and when we click on the process button, something is happening?
Yeah, so that will be a data validation scenario, right? So the one scenario is the positive aspect. In this case, the negative scenario would be, hey, I didn't populate anything and click process another. What happens,
Yeah.
right? So that's
Okay.
another scenario that you can see it, which is not duplicate from the one that you were trying to do it. If I populate and click process other.
Yes. So there can be that scenario.
Right. So the no data will be another scenario.
Okay.
So no data, don't supply any data and do process another, see what happens. Does the system bypass all the required field checks or not? That's what you are verifying at that point. It should show you some type of errors for every field that you didn't supply the required information.
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving on. Go ahead, explain what you have here.
Okay. So in cancel button, when we click on the cancel button, it's not saving the information, taking us to the home page. Like this is a positive one.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't need not taking us to the home page
Right
here.
now, based on the earlier discussion, I think you can get rid of few scenarios here, right?
Yes, yes. And then we have saving, like it's saving the information. It should not save, right? So, and it's saving and taking us to the home page.
So again, you need to, it's not separate action, right? Both has to happen in order for cancel functionality to work
Yeah.
correctly, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But when you say saving, not saving here, Orangi, what do you mean by saving? What information it's going to save? If I didn't populate anything and click cancel, there's nothing to do anything, right?
Yeah. But if we write something in the fields and we click on cancel, but it's still saving the information, isn't that?
Where is it saving though? That's the question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, right? Where it is saving?
When we discussed, it was like, no, we discussed as though it was saving in the system, and then it is taking us to the home page. Like that is how we discussed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way I just say it is, all you're validating it is when you hit the cancel, does it discard the information and get into the home page, as Harshal mentioned? Those are two verification points. It is the same step.
So Dilip, when we discuss this scenario in the business rule, it's written that without saving any data. So that's why we have saving and not saving thing.
Right, but again, going back to same thing as a process, another discussion we did, right? Your action is just one. Your verification is two different things, right? A, the information is discarded or not saved. And two, did I go to homepage?
Okay.
Right?
So
Those are not two separate things happening. That both needs to happen when I hit cancel.
Okay, so we have to think of like not saving and taking us to the home page as one scenario instead of
Right,
breaking
and the
that.
failure of either verification is going to fail the scenario.
Yeah, okay.
So like the other scenario will be not saving, and like it is not saving, but it's taking to the other page other than the home page.
But
Is that
that
the
will be the
negative?
verification points, right? So think about it.
Yeah.
You took only one action to click on cancel,
Yeah.
and it resulted in two things happening in the system. And you need to make sure both things happen. So either one fails, your scenario or test case is going to fail.
So when it's taking to the home page, how do we know it's not saving or saving?
Well, we're planning it in your scenario. It'll be the same, right?
Yeah, same.
I mean, you can do the query in the database, simple query, select whatever if you have access to the database.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you can go to the next module and see if you are able to see it over there, that information. So those will go in your steps when you write the actual test case. Verify that this information is not in the database. And second step would be verify that it's not showing up on the next module or something like that.
Okay.
So can we make something like we enter the information and press the cancel button, but it doesn't go back to the home page? Does it make as a negative case?
No, but
Doesn't-
those are the two things, right? First of all, you are checking that nothing is saved. And second thing you are checking in the same test case that it takes you back to the home page. Now, if the saving part is okay, that it's not saving, but it doesn't take you to the home page, that means that verification failed and you're supposed to fail your test case at that point. So you don't have two separate test cases here. It's a one action, two verifications points, and it both has to meet, otherwise your scenario will fail.
So Harshal, can we just write not saving, taking us to the home page in this one thing, like without making a leaf?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's what I see. I mean, you need to have one, or
Yeah.
you could potentially have two, because you can enter some information, click cancel, right?
Mhm.
And you want to verify the both same thing again. Nothing is saved, and second thing, it will take you back to the home page, right? So that's a verification. In the second test case, you could potentially have, you didn't enter anything, you click cancel, right? Again, you're gonna check for the same thing. Did it create anything over there? And it still takes you back. So those are the only two things I see it here. I think you all almost have it, but it's just the way you have laid out is a little bit different than I would expect.
Okay.
And I think it's more like a pattern that you guys are following, saving, not saving, and so
Yeah.
forth. I can see that clearly, but you need to think it in terms of what verification you are doing, both has to or multiple, because you could be verifying three things as well, not just two. But in this case, it seems like there are a couple of things you have to verify, for test case to work correctly.
Okay, so same as the previous one, we have to cancel out this whole branch, right? And we
Yep.
can just save and
That's
take
correct.
it to the home
Yep.
page. So we can verify if it's not saving or not taking us to the home page, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so that's it for 6.5.
Okay. What about the skid buttons and other things? Did you guys have any test case on that? If you scroll up a little bit, then you go back to the screen.
No,
So
I think
how
we
would
only
you?
did business rules.
Well, you need to test this individual items as well, because what happens if I do skid?
yeah.
Specifically, there's something happening with this button.
Okay.
Does anybody know what is happening if you
It's
click
just
on?
selecting, like if it is case or box or skid, it's just selecting the button, like
It is selecting, but it
color.
is all right. So you need to verify that the color is displayed properly. That's all it is. Okay. If nothing is happening, which is fine, but you
Okay.
need to have a test case around those three buttons as well. Okay. That's what you are missing there.
Okay.
Otherwise,
So-
everything should be covered.
Yeah, so in the from, like, we have to see the page, right? So Harshal, if what if we don't have this picture with us and we just have this rules, then also we have to think like that, right? that if it is skid button, if it is button or something else, we have to do the test scenario. If it is label or something, we don't have to worry about that.
That's correct. But here they are telling you as a rule, because every requirement document will be different. Okay. They will give you some screens maybe in this form, or it could be some other, maybe it's just a sketch, kind of like what you had in the Airflow, just sketches, like a very rough sketch type of thing. But here they are specifically saying if you press on skid, the button is selected first of all, and it changes the color. So you need to have test case around that to test out that functionality.
So anything that has some action. we
Yep,
have to
that is
do
correct.
the
That is
scenario.
correct. Yep. Even though it's not specified in the event, but it is specified as part of the skid button. So you need to make sure you test that.
Okay.
Harshal, I have a question about these buttons, 3 buttons.
Sure.
So there will be only one test case.
I would
Like-
suggest you write 3 because there are 3 different buttons.
no,
Because what
For
happens?
each button,
Yeah,
there is
one
only
test
one.
case, yes.
When I click, does it change the color?
Yep,
If
yep.
That's okay.
Yep. That's correct.
Just like skid, and it changes the color,
Right.
and it will just.
Yep. Now think about when you are doing the data entry and it changes the color, right? You select that skid. Now, when you click on process another or done, how does it save the skid? How does it know it's a skid information, right? So that you need to think it through. So it needs to select the skid and store that value somewhere in the backend as well. Okay.
So that we have to include in the skid button or process another.
That one will be part of the process another. Again, how you write it, it's up to you, but that will go with the saving part, right? Whatever is saving, you may make sure the skid information, whatever is selected button, that data element is stored in the database along with the other things.
So Harshal, so we are writing for the skid case and box, the same simple test case, right?
Yep, simple
And in
test
the
case.
process another, when we click on the process another button, it's saving the skid or case or box, right?
Yes,
So we have to
that is
check
correct.
in the database while
Yep.
saving. After
Yep.
saving, we have
That's
to check
correct.
the database, right?
That is
So do we have to mention that in the tree or test case that we are checking for the skid?
Not there because it's your data now process another, it becomes your data element, right? Because you are selecting the customer PO number, shipping number you are entering, plus selecting maybe skid or whatever box or
Yes.
something, entering some quantity and clicking on process another. At that point, it needs to save, pull all the information and save in the database at that point.
So for the main action, we have to
Yep.
check
Yep.
the database and check if every field, like
Yep.
vendor,
That is
PO, and
correct.
every field is entered or not.
Yep, that is
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. Yeah, so
But I think it looks like you guys were on the right track for this one. Okay. It's just that how you are laid out, it's a little bit different. But again, it covers pretty much all 90% of the scenarios that you had.
okay.
Okay. What other module you had?
6.7, 6.20, and 6.21. So
Can you go to the last module that you have, the 2? What was that?
6.20,
Cartridge list?
21?
Cartridge list, right? That's the one you had.
Harshal, I have a question
Sure.
about this. So as you mentioned, for these buttons, skid and the other 2,
Mhm.
so we are going to link this button for the process another. So do we have to link this in the done button as well? Because in the
Yeah,
done,
because it's a data, right? Those
Yes.
buttons are data elements. So
Okay.
when you supply your test data, make sure you put that in, like when you write the detailed test case, right?
Yes.
You say I'm supplying skid or box, whatever. So that becomes part of your test data.
Okay, so wherever on this page we are saving the data, we have to mention
Yep, that's
everywhere.
correct. That's correct.
Okay. So Herschel, we have started with 6.20, but we haven't completed the 6.21.
Okay.
Let's talk with 20, right? Let's talk
Yeah.
through your thought process, where you're thinking and what you're planning.
Okay. Okay. So for the add new item button,
Mhm.
when we click on it, it will navigate us to the correct page, and the page is ready to use, like 6.21 and
Okay.
F21.
So this one is also the same way that we talked about the other, right? 3 buttons, like
Yes.
3 dots. If you're not going to the right, if the right page is not getting populated, it fails, right?
Yes.
Or right page is not getting displayed. If I click on it, nothing happens, it fails. Right? So the
Sir,
2 negative scenarios that you talked about it here probably are redundant and not needed.
Mhm.
sorry, Purvangi, I think it's page 90. We are on 6.20. For
Yeah,
the
this is
This is the homepage news list.
Yeah.
cartridge list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Page number 90.
So you have to go the other direction. Yeah. There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah. So I understood about the navigating to incorrect pages. We shouldn't write that, but I'm still confused that if we should write the not navigating, like
So
it will.
think of it when you click on add new cartridge,
Mm-hmm.
what action should happen? It should open the next screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is on 621. If it does anything other than that, it's going to fail, right?
Yes. Okay.
So do you need 2 separate cases?
No. Okay. So in that, it's opening up the correct page and ready to use. The page is blank and ready to use. And in another negative test scenarios, we have written like records are pre-populated. I mean, the
What do you mean by
records.
records pre-populated? Remember, what is your validation point at this point when you click on it? Whether it opens a new screen or not. That's all you're looking for, right?
Yes. Okay, so
Or are you looking that records is pre-populated? Because I'm clicking on a new cartridge. So hopefully nothing should be there, right? It should be blank.
yes.
Anything non-blank is going to fail.
Yeah. So it's like
So
if
again,
we
I want you guys to think about it. There's a recurring theme, right? It's when I click or when I take one action, if there are 3 things happening, they are all still verification steps in the same test case, because failure of any of those will result into the overall failure.
okay. So Dilip, I understood what you said, but if we click on the page and the page is correct and ready to use, do we have to write figure out that the page is ready to use in this add new cartridge, or it's okay if we just write this navigating to correct page?
Well, what is the functionality? So when you go ahead, it should be navigating to the new page, right? That's all it is. Look at what is the event is telling you. Right, so go ahead and not the other direction. Now, go into events page. You're still in page elements. You need to go to page events.
Page 92.
Yeah. Okay. So look at that. What is add new cartridge does it?
Yes, so that is blank and ready for entry of new record.
Right. So there's all part of one action, right?
Yes.
So all you need to do, you're going to have 2 verification steps. When I click it, does it take me to the new page or not? So that's first step, verification. Second verification, when it takes me to the new page, is the information clear or not?
Okay.
Right? A failure of either one is a failure of test case, but you are not going to be able to do those things separately as a 2 different test cases.
Yes.
Right? Because it's only same action that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are writing the test scenarios, like you tell that like we should write only which will be, giving us the like passing the test and not the failing the test. So in the scenarios, we should write only the test which will be passed.
Now, so I want you to think only from 2 viewpoints. Okay, you should break it down scenarios only when either you're taking different actions or when you're providing different data.
Okay.
If you're providing same data and same action, how are you going to distinguish between the 2 test cases? You can't, right? Therefore, it's
Yeah.
only one test case. or one scenario.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is edit button.
Okay.
I think we have gone in the same way everywhere.
Right.
We have to
Yeah.
correct all the
Yep.
steps.
That is correct.
Yep.
That is correct. So
Yeah.
I think
Tell me a little bit more about filter phrase, right?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
we are good with that because you know what to do on those edit button, but let's talk through the filter button.
Yeah. So for filter button, so first of all, we were confused, like, should we write the filter phrase application or filter button? So we have selected the filter button, and in that, when we write something in the filter phrase field and we click on the filter button, it will submit the information, I mean, in the system, and related to the phrase, whatever we have written in this text field, the records will be showed up.
So again, think about it. You're doing it one action, right? And the two different scenarios here you need to think about it is, do I give in some data or no data, right? So for example, if I give an empty filter phrase and click on filter, what should happen? And second is, if I put something into that filter phrase string and click filter, what happens? All right. And if you get the right data in either case, that's pass. And if you don't get the right data, that's an absence of that, right? So you don't need the two separate in that from whether the data is populated right or not, right? So the way you say that is whether it's no records or all records,
Yes.
those are one and same scenario, right? Absence of one will validate the other one.
Yeah.
The two different scenarios you have it is you're filtering with some data or filtering without any data.
Okay. So we shouldn't be worried about not submitting. It should be like filtering some data and no data or partial data.
Well, so that's where your rule comes in play, right? Does the rule say it's full data or partial data?
No.
Right. So scroll it down still more.
You go to that.
Yeah.
Yep. Right there.
Right. Right. So it is. So now the scenario you have it's display all records where manufacturer, which is MN, is like FP. Now this is where you should ask a question. What is it? Is it an or condition or it's an and condition?
Yes.
Right.
So MN is like FP. Generally, I mean here, you don't assume. So I will give you or condition here. So if MN is like FP or MD is like FP. So think about in the SQL what you did, right? There is an and and or conditions. So it will look up those two separate fields, manufacturer and model number, and try to find a pattern type of thing, which is like here. So if you type in A, just only word A, so it will look for word A in the manufacturer and the model field and will return that information, any matching.
Yes. So there should be a clarification if it is and or.
Right.
And we can start with the requirement.
Yeah, I'm giving you its or, right?
Okay.
So I'm already telling you its or. So based on that, I think you just need to, when you write the detailed steps, make sure you include that as part of your what data you are passing and what is your expected outcome for the search.
We were a little confused about this, so
Sure.
And like we couldn't come up with the right
That's fine. That's fine.
steps.
Ashil, can you explain this and an or scenario again? I'm clear with and or, but the point where I'm confused, like in the manufacturer name, like suppose the name is German, but I have just put GER.
Okay.
So does it take some part.
So when you hit on, so let's say you type it in GER in the filter phrase field, and you hit filter button, right? So that's
Yes.
where your test case basically will need to have all the steps. But what it's supposed to do is go look up in the table wherever this cartridge list is, and cartridge list has manufacturer and model number attributes, right? Which is
Yes.
also shown on the result as well, so you can see it. But it should filter out GER anywhere the manufacturer has it, GER in the
model.
name or the model number.
Okay. So it
Okay.
will take the partial part of the word.
Yeah,
as well.
partial. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a partial search. It is a partial because it says it's a like. It's a like.
Okay.
That's the reason it's a partial.
So if they want it the complete, they will write
Equal.
exact.
Yeah,
equal.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep, equal or something like that.
Okay.
So while if we come up with this scenarios in the job real life, and if it is like FP, so do we have to clarify, or we can just assume that it's like, so it has to be partial? It can
Now,
take.
again, what you need to clarify here is does it have to be anywhere in the name, or it starts with basically that word, or what it is? So because remember the pattern, right? We
Yeah.
are talking about starting with that word, or anywhere in the name you have that word, or it's ending that whatever GER, is it ending or it's beginning, or anywhere in the name, in the manufacturer and model number. So here I'm telling you it can be anywhere when you are using the like statement. So if there is some ABC Germain, something like that, it will find that. If there is a Germain Toyota, it will find that. If the GER is the last 3 letters in the name, then it will find it as well, both in model number and manufacturer number.
Okay. So for the test case, we have to like enter
Finish.
like no data or some data.
Your
instead of
test case
entry.
will still be, as I talked about
Yeah.
earlier, it's just two paths, right? One is I'm filtering with some string, or I'm filtering without putting anything.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, what Herschel talked about is, it's how do I validate what all result came back is correct or not? What all I need to validate. That's what he's talking about.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay, so
if
I
you
think
wanna
you guys
break
need
it
some
down, right?
correction.
You want to
Yep, go
break
ahead.
it down the string, you can always break it down and say, hey, I want to make sure that I do a scenario where something is in the middle, something is in the starting with, and something is for both MN and model, right? So based on data, you can still further break it down if you want it, or you can just create a data set which covers all of those data, and then you just do a one test case, and then make sure that all of those results are returned.
Okay.
All right, so I think you guys have enough information to flush out your scenarios, I believe. And so you can work in the team. The next step would be, so after we review the other teams as well, you guys need to flush that out, make sure you have the solid test scenarios as well. Okay, so that would be the next logical thing. And plus you have to finish this module as well, right? With the edit and add and the detail screen. So that's something you can finish up as well. But I think let me move on to other modules here. Okay, I think hopefully that one will give you a little bit more understanding of how we break down the test scenarios. Okay, so if you want to stop sharing your screen, I know there is one more module left, but I like other team to cover that, the common module.
Okay.
And another module will be. So who is doing from the team one, please go ahead and share your screen. And Dilip, if you like to drop off, you can go ahead and do so.
Harshil, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
So do I need to do both the screens simultaneously?
if you have it up,
Let
you can flip back and forth. Okay, if you want to start with the maybe screen layout first, I think that would be easier for everybody. So you can just bring that up, whatever module you are talking about. And I think you have the high level scenarios here. So then you can come back to this particular page once you show the screen first.
Okay, I can do both simultaneously.
Yeah, yeah. If you can do both, then it will be fine. But it will be a little bit tiny to see it.
Let me see if I can do both.
Yeah, okay. You might have to zoom in for this one. You can flip back and forth. You don't have to have both up at the same time.
Okay.
You can just flip it, yep, with the laser saver requirement and your module.
Okay. So
can you pull up
So-
the requirement first? See what module you are talking about.
so
and,
I'm talking about 6.7.
okay, that's the inventory one. Okay.
Yes. So can you see both the screens now?
No, we can see only right now. We are seeing the file window and the
Okay.
image, but not the other one. Yep, that screen is there now. Yep. Okay. So it's good, Dimple. Yep.
Okay. So here, so I have module 6.7.
Okay.
So actually what I was thinking, I was taking maybe into wrong direction or some other direction, as we discussed earlier. Purvangi,
Okay.
she explained.
Sure.
So the first like field I have is from.
Okay.
And like what I was thinking, I have to validate when I click these buttons.
Mhm.
So like where this information is coming from, and if I'm adding that information, I have to then again check if this information will populate here in this lookup field.
Okay. So how many scenarios you have on that button? Is it 2 that we discussed earlier?
Let me explain what I have
Sure,
I
sure.
have noted down here. So
Okay.
for the first action,
Can you
which
zoom
is-
in for that? Zoom in that screen. I think there's a zoom button right there. Just click on plus sign. Yep. No, plus sign. Sorry. Go left. Yep, that's the one. Yep, there you go. I think that's good
Yes.
enough.
Yes. So the first is from. So
Okay.
basically, just give me a second. Okay. So for the from, this is action A01 according to this module,
Sure.
and this is the list of the customers or vendor.
Okay.
So for that, like if I click on the 3 buttons, if I want to see if that information is available here,
Okay.
for that I will go to page F09. So that is the list of customers and vendors. I will add a new, and then on that page there is a new add new customer or vendor that will navigate me to F10, and there I will add a vendor, and then I will see if that vendor or customer is populated here or not.
Okay.
So this is what I'm doing with the from button here, from field here.
Okay.
And similarly for the shipment A02, I'm doing the same for the shipment. So for the
hang on, the scenario wise, right? So verification. So you are checking. So scenario is you are clicking on this button and you are verifying the list is showing up correctly or not. That's the scenario.
Yes.
Right. And the second part of the scenario. So you have first part. Okay. The second part, what do you have for the second part? You said there are 2 things you are checking.
I'm adding a new vendor.
Okay.
Then I will come back to this page and I will see if that vendor is available here in the list when I click on these 3 buttons.
Okay, so that would be good. That goes in your details tabs, how you are going to verify, right? But the scenario is does the vendor list shows up properly or not?
Okay.
Or
so
if the vendor
I did not mention all this stuff here. So So for the scenarios, we can say that first, I will click on these 3 buttons.
Okay.
Then this is in the one leaf. Then this list will show up.
Okay.
And when I click any of the one, that should go here. And
Okay,
if
so
any
that
of-
would be the
and-
second part, the selection. So you will
Yes.
verify the selection. It is selecting the right vendor
Yes.
and populating the
Yes.
form field.
The first
Okay.
is like I'm adding and seeing if it is, if I can, if that vendor is available in the list.
Okay.
And the second is when I select that vendor, if that will show up in the form field or not.
Okay, so I think you have the similar to what the other guys have.
Yes.
Verify the correctness of the list. Whatever shows up is correct. And second is select the vendor and see if it shows up populated
Yes.
correctly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So make sure you identify those as a high level scenarios. I think
Okay.
this one is fine, but I don't see
Mhm.
the second one here. So that's something you need to identify it, whether you
Okay.
put it in a Word, English, plain
Okay.
English, or you just
Okay.
put it, show it in the tree format. It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, either one is
Okay.
fine.
Okay. And then for the second one, which is A02, that is shipment.
Okay.
For that, I have added only one, like the shipments that we are adding in the receiving, that
Okay.
should all of them display here.
Okay. So that's a verifying. Okay.
Yes.
So you are
And then-
validating that the whatever
Yes.
shipment list is populated
Yes.
is
And
coming
then-
from the receiving.
Yes,
Okay.
then I have to add the second one. I'm choosing one and that should display here. So that
Okay.
I did not mention here.
Okay.
So then
Alright.
the third is we have to enter barcode here. These are not required fields, so we have to enter some data here.
Okay.
Okay. And
But how
then-
are you validating the required information?
So this is not required. Like
No, you said the fields are required. So you are entering the barcode and stuff, but how you
Okay.
gonna validate the information
No,
is
no.
required?
I'm saying in the events they have mentioned E03, it's not required.
Okay.
And even this one, work or sales order, this is not required. So if I
Okay.
leave it blank, this should also going to work.
Okay.
So does it
So-
make sense? I'm going on right path.
Can you scroll back up? So I understand that part, but what action will validate that? Just entering and not entering will not do it, right?
I will either enter or not. Then I will do some of the action, maybe identical, different, something on later. So it should allow me to, like, there will be 2 scenarios. First is I have entered some data. Second is I haven't entered anything.
Okay.
But when I do like identical or any of the others, like different or from start, in that
Sure.
case, it should allow me to go further.
Understand. So those data validation, if I understand correctly, you have it as part of your identical, different, and from start scenarios,
Yes.
right? For those button functionality. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense to me. Now, where do you have those here? Do you have that to mention on
I did
your?
not mention because
Okay.
in the actions they haven't mentioned about these. So after A01, A02, in the A03, so it was the category lookup field in this document. So in the actions field, they haven't mentioned about these fields because these are the data fields we are supposed to enter. So I did not note it down it here.
Okay, so think through it, right? So
So
you are
we-
validating required fields and non-required fields. So
Yes.
those should be your 2 scenarios somewhere.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
whether you validate on the identical or different or from start, or basically one of the action. So
Okay.
let's say you're validating on identical. So one positive scenario will be you are entering something, all the required fields, and clicking on
Okay.
identical, it allows you to do whatever you need to do. Second scenario for identical would be you are missing some required fields and you are trying to save, click on the identical, see if it allows you, you should see some error message saying, please enter the required information and so forth. Is that how you thought about it?
Yes.
Okay. So just mention that in your scenarios. Okay.
Okay. So just for clarification, so for the data field purposes, so do we have 4 fields here, like 4 scenarios here? So one
No.
is one for the required, under required we have required field enter, and the other is required field did not enter.
Yep. So
The
those are
other
only
is-
2, right?
Yes. No, but we also have non-required fields as well. So I
Okay.
have to see what happens if I put some information or not, if I did not put some information in the non-required.
Yeah, so write down the scenario so that we can see. And it's okay if you don't have it complete here. Okay, you will get a chance to complete out with working with the team. I want to make sure you discuss and flush out all those scenarios, but make sure you document it somewhere.
Okay.
So that we can see. Okay, so let's talk about what you documented here. Okay, and then we can go from there.
Okay. So the next is, give me a second. So the next is a category lookup field.
Okay.
Which is this one.
Okay.
So
again, it should work the same way, right?
Yes.
Populate and verify the list. Those two things. Yep. Okay.
Yes. So Harshal, I have a question about this one.
Sure.
So like for these two, the list will populate here.
Yeah.
For this one, again, the list will populate here.
Yep. Same place. Yep. Same place.
Yep. Okay.
It will just override the whatever list is shown over there.
For everyone.
Yep.
So we have to do the clarification as well as the selection, both things for.
Yes. For every dots, 3 dots, you have make sure the list is populated, whatever module it comes from, plus
then I'm able to select.
Yep. For every dot. Yeah.
Okay. Then again, the next action is A04, which is about the OEM selection.
Okay.
So for this, there will be like for when I click this button.
Okay.
Then this next field should be hidden.
I see.
So this is only one scenario. If I click this button, is it that hidden?
That's correct. So it's not available for selection. That's what it says. So make sure you have a scenario for that. Yep, which you do. Okay.
Then A05 is this one, non-OEM.
Okay.
Then if I click this one, then the next field, will be displayed. So this is also again one.
Okay.
And
all
then,
right. So you have 2 scenarios for that. Okay, that's good.
Yes. So like for this button, I have one scenario. For this button, I have one.
Definitely, there are 2 different scenarios. Yep.
Yes.
That is correct.
And the next is, and I have a doubt about this one. From field, shipment field, I know from where this information is coming, and then I am doing the verification. I'm doing the verification part.
Okay.
But this thing like manufacturer number, in the document, I was not able to find like where I am entering this data.
So that is in the vendor and customer list. That's where it will come from.
So in the
because
vendor
manufacturers are vendors, unless there is a separate module called manufacturer.
Okay.
Let me just check it, make sure I'm telling
because
you.
In the vendor, so there is information about vendors, their number, email address, and the other thing is set default.
Yep.
So in the set default, like we have here this button here, set default. If I click the set default button here, then in the vendors and customer list, if there is a set default page, when I enter all the set default values, like manufacturer is this one, manufacturer is this one, then all that set default values are automatically going to populate in these fields, like
yes,
category. But this is for the condition for the set defaults.
Right.
But if I do not do set default there, while then where this information is coming from, like
then they will pick it basically manually.
Okay. Like I'm saying category, so there should be a list pop up here. So somewhere I am adding this list here. I was not able to find where this list is coming from.
So the category one, it comes from the category. I think it comes from the cartridge category list. If you go to that
even there is the same thing is here. There is an option to select from the list. There was that should be field here over there.
Okay, hang on. There is a admin codes as well. So admin codes might have it the categories as well. So it could be coming from the admin codes where you have set up database those category list, basically like toner and what's there. So I think it's coming from there.
So
admin codes, yeah. admin
So-
codes and parameters. Yep.
Admin, okay, okay, okay.
Yep. Because those are list of values. So here, what we are saying is category is a list of value. It's
Yes.
not a physical equipment.
Yes.
It's a list of value.
Yes,
Yep.
even the manufacturer and manufacturer number as well.
No, manufacturer, that will come from the customer and vendor list.
In the
That's for
customer,
sure.
in the cartridge inventory list, there is an option to enter the manufacturer.
Yep.
But now there is an option to enter the manufacturer number. But again,
Okay.
manufacturer, there is no option. There is a list there as well. We have to select from the list.
Let me take a look at it, and I'll let you know exactly where the manufacturer, but
Okay.
it has to be from one of the modules. Okay.
Okay.
It needs to come from there. So, but again, the pattern is same for you.
Yes. So we
You need
have to
validate.
go there,
Yep.
add the information and check if it's available here, and
Yep.
then click on
Yep.
the button and see if it's
Yep.
in.
Yep.
So for everyone, we have two scenarios.
Yep.
So we have two leaves and under a leaf. So
Yep.
we have, okay. So
Now
next,
let's come back to the warranty. See if you have done anything from the
Yes,
bottom
yes, I
row, because that's more interesting to me.
yes.
Um,
So for that, first we have to go for the weight thing,
Okay.
which is A09 here.
Okay.
So this is again, first I have to enter some data here.
Okay.
So either this is this field is joined with the weighing scale, then it will pre-populate the weight of the cartridge, or I have to enter it manually.
Okay.
And this empty and full, these are the information which are coming from the cartridges page.
Okay.
The like once I put all the upper information, they all will populate.
Okay.
So I did not mention any of the scenarios for this. Like
Okay.
when
So I
once-
think you need to verify. So what are you verifying? What scenarios you have for the warranty and those things? Do you have anything for the warranty? Does the other team, right? You guys worked on it as well. Team number 2. Do you have any scenario for the warranty as well?
For the warranty, we have to see the weight, right? If the weight of the cartridge is
Okay. But do you have a scenario identified for testing?
Oh, yes,
What I'm asking is.
I think we have done. Purvangi should have it.
I think we make as per like empty weight is greater than or less than. So
Okay.
we just made, I think, 2 scenarios that.
What are the
that's-
scenarios? What are your, how you gonna validate the warranty information is working properly?
So I think as per the requirement, it says if it is empty weight is greater than or less than the full weight, then it should be we should process for the warranty. That will be the positive case.
So
Also, there is a rule that the color of this thing should
Yeah.
be changed
Okay.
to red
So-
and
Do you have a scenario identified? Can you go and share your screen? I want to see it, if you have it written down.
yeah, so that's where we have incomplete scenarios. Our time was
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all right, so okay,
But-
so you need to work through that as well, because those are some of the important business functionality. Okay, so I think
Yeah,
both
so-
of you have you need to complete certain things, which you will get chance. Okay, once we are done
So-
with the review.
Herschel, in 6.21, we have something about warranty, right? So empty cartridges and full cartridges. Our wait, let me just check.
Yes, so those modules are tied. That is correct.
Yeah, so in that we have like if it is empty weight is less than
Yep.
Full weight, then it's correct.
So
And other
what I
scenario,
like
that
you
is-
guys to do is identify those scenarios as well, because those are the important business functionality. These 3 dots, yes, is great. You have to test it, but what is the core business functionality, how the warranty works? That's something I like you guys to spend time on next, okay? So that you can finish up writing up the scenarios, complete the writing the scenarios for this module as well. Okay, so spend some time. So Dimple, let's see what else you have,
Okay.
and we can go from there.
Okay. So in the warranty, what I have did here.
Okay.
So, so basically this weight thing and the warranty thing, they are interrelated here.
Yes. Okay.
So once once user manually or pre-populated with the weight, so maybe like first option is this, it will turn green.
Okay.
Then automatically then I'm sorry, let me explain it again. Like
So
if
what
it's,
scenarios you have it here, Dimple, on this document that you have shown? Do you have that scenario identified? What are you testing? I know you are telling me the steps,
yes,
but do you have the scenario? What is that? What's the outcome of that test?
like I haven't mentioned on this paper here.
Okay, so let's do that first of all. I want you
Okay.
guys to spend time as a team 1 and team 2 both. Okay,
Okay.
because this is critical functionality. You need to make sure you are able to test. And what are the high level scenario here? What are you testing basically? How do you know warranty is generated properly? So that's kind of like one of the scenario, right? What are the things that you have to look at it and come up with that? Spend some time on it. Let's take a look at what else you have documented.
So I like okay.
So you don't have identical and other things, right? Or you do have it, those scenarios?
I think I have. Let me show.
Let's finish that up. What you have, you can share that, and then we can move on to the different module afterwards. Now, did you guys look at it as a team, right? Because I want to make sure everybody is on the same page from the team as well.
So for the identical, this is A17.
Okay.
So once I click the identical button, then all the fields, they are going to get clear, except no, all the fields, the same information will be there except E12, 15, 16, and 17. So these will get clear.
Okay, so you have one scenario, but
Yes.
what is that you are testing when you say identical?
So identical means if I'm entering the identical another cartridge.
Another cartridge. Okay, so make sure you put that clarification in the title. Entering
Okay.
the same cartridge, and then pressing on the identical. So you need to describe that in the title of the scenario.
I have a question. Like here, so many things are interrelated. Like
sure.
Like with the identical, so I have also to take care about those fields, data fields. So how they are like in
that's
the
just
identical.
a test data, right? That's just a test data. So you can just put it as part of your step. Hey, I'm picking out these values for these fields and then pressing the identical. But that will go in your steps.
Okay, what if I did not enter the required data and then identical? So I have, so that those are also the scenarios.
Yeah, so you need to make sure you say that identical, whatever the enter all required fields for identical. Basically, that's how you want to title your scenario.
Okay. And
right?
some of the required fields are missing.
Then you say supply only few of the required fields and then press identical or something like that.
Okay.
Do the identical process.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way everybody knows, okay, what are you testing? Just looking at the scenario title or test case title. And then you can supply the values and write down all the steps that you need.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I think you guys need to work on this one. So I'll let you guys work through, but let me see what you guys came up with the homepage.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see anybody else from your team like to present the homepage one, and see if you have it. Do you have the homepage one, Dimple, or somebody else from your team has it?
Does anyone has? I have. I don't know if someone has noted down. We have discussed, but I have no idea if someone has noted down.
Okay.
No, Dimple noted it down.
Okay, let me show what I do. Okay. So
Can you pull up the page as well first, the home page? What
Sure.
are you testing from that
Okay.
standpoint? Yep. Okay. Yep, it's good. Yep.
okay. So on the home page, we have one button, history button.
Okay.
So like I have one scenario. If I click on this button, it should navigate me to the F26 page.
Okay.
So
And what is that page? Yeah.
This history page.
History page. Okay. So, all right.
If I click on this, it will take me to the history page.
Okay.
So that's the only one scenario for this one.
Okay. What about anything else is happening on the page?
And on the history page here, there is no button. So this is
Okay.
only the information. The
Okay.
second step, what I have to do for this one, I have to see if at the back end, if an admin is adding either history or history information or new information, if that information is coming on these pages.
Okay. So how many scenarios you have? And show us in the backend when you are referring to the backend, right?
Okay.
What are you referring to?
Okay, let me go to those
And
pages.
how do you think it's going to work?
So
for your
like
scenario?
here under element E02, it has mentioned displays a list of the articles that have been defined using homepage news items pages F20 and 21.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So you
Okay.
said you are testing history only on this button. Are you not testing anything else?
No,
Verifying anything else?
I'm verifying if I'm adding some new information,
Okay.
if that information is coming to F01 page or F26 page.
Okay, so let's talk about this page, right? This is
Okay.
F01 page. So what
Okay.
will you verify here
So
other than history?
Okay, let me go to the F21 page
Okay.
first.
$135, okay.
So for that, first I have to come to this page F20.
Mhm.
I'm not validating the functionality of this page.
Sure.
I'm not validating filter and all kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I'm just clicking on this,
Okay.
add new item, and it will navigate me to F21.
Okay, let's go
So
there.
these are the steps. So this is under one scenario. So now here on this page, there are two actions. Even I'm not checking the functionality of this page.
Sure.
I'm just checking if I'm adding information and it is appearing on page F01 or not.
So how do you know it will be on F01 versus?
Yes. So here we have two checkbox.
Okay.
So like first scenario is I'm checking for page F01, which is home page. I'm giving some title here and adding some text here, and clicking this checkbox and save. So then,
so this will be marked as a new item.
Yes,
that's what you are. So your scenario should reflect that you make sure you verify that new item is listed correctly on what's new section. Now that is your scenario. That's what you need to, when you write the detailed steps, you need to perform all this activity and you need to verify.
Yes. So under active here,
okay.
Under active here, so there are two scenarios.
Okay.
One is I click this button. One is I click this checkbox and save.
Okay.
So then the information should appear on page F01.
Okay.
The other is I did not put active and save, then what will happen? Does it come to first page or not?
It shouldn't, right? Because it's not active anymore.
Yes, it should not, but I have to see, is it appearing on the page or not.
So you have two scenarios. You want to list
Yes.
it out, right?
Yes, yes,
Basically for what's new.
yes,
One you go create as active and the other as inactive, see what happens.
yes,
See if they are being displayed or not displaying, basically.
yes.
You are
yes.
expecting
Because
not to display.
yes, I'm expecting not to display, but still I'm saving. So some actions are happening at backend. So I want to see if
Okay.
so these are the two scenarios.
Okay, so does everybody understand, right? What she has done here? It looks simple on that page. There is a what's new only, but these are some of the things you need to think it through, how it's related to other modules and how they fits together in your overall scenario. So I think I'm okay with the two scenarios you have for the what's new.
Okay, but
Now,
okay.
the history one, how would you test the history
So
one?
for the history one, again, two scenarios. So there is a historical button,
Okay.
checkbox. If I click, then that information will go on the history page.
Okay.
If I did not, it should not go there.
Okay. Now, what if the item is already there, right? In the what's new? Do you have the third scenario that can move to the history?
No, I did not think about that.
Okay. So think about it. If you already have something, and let's say it's a 1 month old or 2 months old, it's a stale information. It's not a new information anymore. Then you can come back here and because it has only active check, right? That's the reason it's showing up there. Now, if you check historical as well, along with the active, it will remove it from the what's new and then show it on the historical page at that point. So there are a few things happening.
I did not get. So what you're trying to say, like the active and the historical button, they are doing simultaneously, like
you check
clicking...
both together, that will move the item from what's new to the historical page.
But about this thing, they did not mention anything here.
So let's see here. See if you need clarification.
Okay.
See for R002, right? Rule number 002. Articles that are set as historic archive by checking the active checkbox are displayed as a news item on the system homepage history page. Historical are set as historical archive. So you are checking two checkboxes.
Okay.
One, it has to be active, and second, you are checking it as a historical archive as well.
Okay.
It's not clear here. Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't say like that you check the checkbox historical archive, but that's what it is.
Yes.
That's how you can interpret that rule.
So can you make it more clear? Like we have an option to check both boxes, and we have option to check individual as well.
Yeah. Yep. Both together or as well as one only. Yep.
Okay. If it's one only, then accordingly it will do the action.
Yep.
And if it's like if I'm clicking on both, the third scenario.
Yep. It will go to the historical page.
But then what's the purpose of clicking on active? Because
so if you don't want to display anywhere, you just remove the active. See, if it's only active, right, it will show up on the what's new.
Yes.
Okay. If you uncheck active, it will not show up anywhere.
Yes.
Right. You agree with that?
Yes.
Now, if you check active and historical, it will show up on the historical only.
Okay. So you're giving more clarification.
Yes, I'm giving you more clarification as well here, so that there are third scenario you need to account for.
Okay.
Okay. It looks simple, but there is some thought process behind it, where the things, and you need to check it and make sure you guys document those things.
So basically, so for that, are we checking the functionality of this page? Like,
no, you are not checking the functionality, but this is part of your test data creation.
Okay.
Right. But your leaf should reflect for the what's new. Hey, all the active items should show up here. For the historical, the active and historical items should show up here. Now, if you uncheck both, that should be a second leaf that says, if it's inactive, it should not display on historical as well as what's new. Now, how do you go and set the data? That's the process we talked about. You go check the flags, these two flags. It will be marked as historical. Basically, it should show up over there.
Okay. Okay. And Herschel, for the inventory module, So can you please go through like the manufacturer and manufacturer number?
Yes, I'll
where
let
that
you know.
is-
Yep. But would focus on the business
Okay.
process item, right? Because
Okay.
that's kind of like a more important other than that.
Okay.
So focus on the identical. I want to see what scenarios you guys come up with, both teams, okay? Because that's a
Okay.
common module that you guys have.
Harshal, I have a question.
Yes, Mark.
If the home page is in maintenance, it's gonna show maintenance.
Now, I'm not sure about maintenance. What do you mean by maintenance?
Yes, it shows. Let's go back to.
Dimple, can you go back to the homepage?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, if for example, it says if the application is scheduled for maintenance or new
Okay.
functionality enhancement will be displayed.
Yeah, so what it's talking about is what should be part of the what's new. Okay, so it kind of like it could be the maintenance message. So you go create the maintenance message in that admin section, and it should show up here. Those are some of the things that could be part of the what's new items. Okay, so that's the functionality we just talked about, how you can test those. Now maintenance, it doesn't mean anything, right? You need to publish a new article that says, hey, maintenance window, that's a title. And then you can say more detail, like what would be the downtime for the system, so that user will know when the system will not be available at that point.
There will be another leaf or.
No, but that's part of the functionality. So you don't have any maintenance item. I don't see any need for any other leaf here.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Do you understand, I think, right? What we discussed earlier, that should take care of the maintenance type of items as well. Any message, it's for any message. It's nothing to do with the maintenance, actually. Here, they gave you the example. For example, if the application is scheduled for maintenance or new functionality enhancement, it will be displayed here. But how it will be displayed? Some admin will go in, create the new news item, and it will be, they will add whatever description, whether it's a maintenance or new feature or whatever they are releasing. So it will show up under what's new at that point.
Okay,
then after 2 weeks, they want to remove it, they will go and archive that and put it as a historical item, or completely remove it if it's a 1 year or something old after that. Hope that clarifies you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, so I think Dimple, you guys had one more module as well. I'm not sure you guys even
No.
had a chance to go through, right?
No.
So I would not worry about that right now.
Okay.
You guys will have a chance to work through over the week. Okay, that third module.
Okay.
Let's finish up what you have for these 2 items, and the same thing with the team number 2. Okay, let's finish up, and basically I like you guys to send me end of the day, or if you have time, let's say if you can wrap up that part in another 30 or 45 minutes, then we can review it today itself. Okay, 12:45. If everybody is okay with that, we can just review it for 10-15 minutes, or shoot me an email and I can pull it up and review it as soon as you are done with those 2 items. But I like you guys to spend some time today while everybody's here and flush out those things before you break for the day. Okay, so let's work through that. I'm gonna put you guys in the room again and flush out all those things that we talked about. And then either you send me in the email, or I'll check back at 12:45 here, see if you guys are done. If you guys are done early, just ping me and I will come back and review those items.
So Herschel, all 4 modules, right? You have to
Yes,
flush out.
for your team, I think you have 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
You guys have receiving module. I think that's there. I think you guys also spend time on the inventory side of things. If you guys haven't done that flushed out, so definitely flush out. Today is kind of like you guys to flush that out. Other one, I think you all almost had the other one as well. right? Your
Yes.
team has a two modules almost there. Third
Yes.
one you guys need it. For Dimple, you guys need to flush out 2 modules. Third one you guys need to work through over the week.
Okay.
Okay. Before
Okay.
Thursday, and as a team, so that we can review it on Thursday as well. If you guys basically wrap it up by then.
Okay.
Is everybody clear? What is left for today?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna split up the team again. Okay, and I'm gonna put you guys, and I'll check back in another 30 minutes. See if you guys have it. Otherwise, I'd definitely like to see that done today, though. Okay. Describe in the plain English as well if you can, or if you want to break down a scenario tree, which is okay as well. But I like to see what are the additional things you have. Any question from anybody?
For team 1, they have one module that they're gonna present in Thursday, right?
That is correct. Yep.
So
Warranty.
for
shipping.
our team, we have to present all 4 modules right now, or one module.
You guys have 3 only. You guys have 3. There is no 4 modules. One module includes 2 components, which is
Yes.
search and detail. Okay, so you need to flush that out, all of them, and hopefully, I think you are close to flushing that out.
Okay.
Right?
Mhm.
We'll go till 12:45. See how far you go. Otherwise, you guys will have to present that on Thursday, whatever you produce.
Okay.
But you remember, you will also have additional things to work through the week, not just those three things, because I like you guys to start working through picking out at least 1 or 2 test cases, basically. Okay. So which you can start writing in detail as well before today, and from today to Thursday, at least 2 per team member. So that's additional work that you will have.
Harshal from team 2. So Pravangi, she had the document. Can we need that document just for the reference? Like
Which
the trees?
document?
She made the trees, scenario trees.
Yep. Yeah, yes, certainly they can share it with you. I mean, yep. So Paurangi,
Okay.
I mean, if you can share your trees, if you can take a screenshot or something, picture,
Okay.
and send it to them, that would be okay.
Okay.
Or you can send me, and I can forward to them as well. Doesn't matter.
I'll do it.
Yep. All right. So let's plan
Okay.
till 12:45. Let me put you in the room, and I'll let you guys work through, and I'll check back at 12:40. So you got roughly about 30 minutes. Dimple, you need to join the room.
Harshal, I did not get the option to join the room.
Okay, I just hang on. Okay.
Yes.
Did you get the option? Okay, join room number 2, and I'm going to move you to room number 1. Okay. You should get the option now.